Internet of Things makes our cars driverless, our homes connected, our cities smart, and factories run seamlessly. Artificial intelligence combined with IoT data is where the business value is created. Imagine yourself in the driverless world. I will teach you to pivot your career and innovate in your business using IoT, AI, and autonomous vehicles. Let's begin your journey with me today. Hello everybody, this is Sudha Jamthe. This is a special edition for International Women's Day. Hello Roxy, how are you?
Hi Sudha, thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited and honored to be with you today. My name is Roxy Stimpson. I'm a CTO of IoTWorldLabs. I came to the US in '93 as a work refugee, and I was 21. I came with my family. I graduated from University of Washington with computer science degree in '98. And at the year that I was admitted to the computer science department, it was only 40 of us get admitted to the computer science that quarter. And that was exciting at that time.
You're the CTO of IoT Labs. And in my career, I've seen, women start off with the tech background and they typically, pivot and move away. I've done that. I have a computer science undergrad degree too. But people pivot and move away to project management or product management or to the business side. So how did you stick to being a CTO? And tell me about what you do as a CTO.
I have many passions and hobby, but I always love technology. And I practically stay with tech since the day I graduated. Well, I just want to emphasize in a way that IoT is the new beginning, right? If we've been in the field for a long time, we know that many forms of IoT. In early 2000, 1999, IoT is about connected devices, right?
Yeah.
So at that moment in time, I actually built a program that show data you can read from a scale remotely. So that was back in 2000 already. Connected data.
What kind of scale? What kind of scale? What do you mean read from a scale?
So the scale is plugged into a computer, and with the data as the data, when you put a package on a scale, it reads, and then it sends a message to the remote connector, which I built, and then the connector then show the data on the website. So that you don't have to be on the same room to read the data of the package. So this
is like a FedEx. This is like a logistics company tracking the weight put in a weighing scale.
Yeah, that was when I was part of the team that do R&D work for Airborne Express.
Wow.
For RFID was back then to store data, right? I was working on one of those projects as well. But the RFID at the time really not connected. It's store data, but you have to be very, very close to pull the data from there. So, yeah.
And so did you always work on industrial IoT? Because my experience has been more from the consumer side. I came from retail, from eBay. So wearables, I was given a Fitbit by the CTO of eBay so long ago. We didn't even call it IoT. We didn't think it was just a cool toy, and we tracked it, right? So that's like the beginning of a wearable. And later on, when I was working in mobile, I looked at the Apple Watch, and I have always felt like a device is not a product. A product is not a business. Just because you throw yet another device at a customer doesn't mean they're going to display the same behavior. And they're not going to have the same experience and same value from it. So that kind of got me started, thinking about this.
I always in the automation, application integration and automation. And so my forte actually in enterprise app integration. So it's always in the warehouse integration and logistics. Mostly the exchange, the corporate B2B set.
Meet Tejumade Afonja. She's the co-organizer of AI Saturdays from Lagos, Nigeria. She's actually validating that I'm pronouncing her name right. She is a software engineer who knows deep learning.
Yeah, I go by Teju. Nice to meet you.
So tell us about this AI Saturday.
Okay, yeah, so AI Saturday was an initiative from the brilliant people of Nurture.ai. It's actually a company somewhere in across the country. So they came up with an initiative that they wanted people to be kick-ass in AI, and they wanted it across the world, not just in that country. So that was where AI Saturday came. And so people from different parts in different cities, they sign up their city. So luckily for us, my friend who I co-organized AI Saturday with saw the announcement somewhere, and it was like, "Oh, okay, Sergio, would you be interested in this kind of stuff?" And I was like, "Are you kidding me? I can't wait." And they were like, "Okay, so what do we need?" And he told me, he said, 14 weeks, and I'm like, 14 weeks? I just exclaimed. Like, how are we going to hold an event every Saturday for 14 consecutive Saturdays? I was like, okay, let's calm down. What do we need to hold this? We need venue, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, yeah, I think we can pull this off. We are just going to sacrifice 14 weeks, 14 Saturdays, nothing other than this. And interestingly, it's meant to be 14 weeks, 14 Saturdays, but because when we started, we didn't do the introductory part, which they had done before the initial starting, which was on the 6th of January.
AI means many things. So we are talking about learning, deep learning, right? So it's not machine learning.
Yeah,
it's deep learning.
No, it's
hands-on.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it's not machine learning. So we started it January 6th, which was 3 months ago. Like, this is April, like that was 3 months ago. And we started with a bunch of people who had no clue, or they were just AI enthusiasts. They don't know about this. How do you kickstart something with beginners and expect them to catch up with technology? Like deep learning, machine learning, it's a bit higher. And I'm like, yeah, we don't expect everyone to get everything, but we just need you to have an overview to develop the interest to continue on your own. So, but interestingly, we were going through courses which we feel like anyone could go into the course and come out understanding so many things. Like the Stanford CS231N, it's starting from introduction to like it's basically carries you along. The only thing you need is to brush up your Python or brush up your NumPy and Pandas, which was what we used the first week to do, and that was why our chapters weeks were 16 weeks instead of 14.
So this is Dr. Fifi Lee's Stanford course. ImageNet database and just learning computer vision and models with that, right?
Yeah, that is correct. So it was it's taken by Professor Dr. Fifi Lee and Justin Johnson and also Serena Young. So we go through introduction to, it's basically image and convolutional neural networks. So understanding things like image classification, detection, segmentation, like all those stuff, like generative adversarial networks and everything like that, in order for you to be able to do all those cool computer vision stuff, which I think is very, very important, especially in the days of IoT now. Like, I mean, that's where you go to from having computers all over. I mean, what do we use all this data? How do we consume them? So I guess that's where that's kind of like the trend. If we have a lot of data, how do we make sense of it? Like we can't just leave it flying around. We need to do something about it. And yeah,
so if from an IoT perspective, the self-driving car is using deep learning. The security cameras outside our homes are all using, deep learning. They do machine learning to some extent. Like I think my Nest Cam does machine learning to identify people, but they do deep learning for training, right? Or for creating the models, right? Like, for creating the models that identify objects.
Yeah, for training. Yeah. So if you know something about, like, there's something, there's also reinforcement learning, which I think most of the self-driving cars kind of like use that as well. So it's a reward-based system and everything. So it makes much more sense to use that to be able to train your models. And yeah, you're right. So we also go through fast.ai course. It's called Deep Learning for Coders. That's high level. It's another, but it's not the bottom up approach like the Stanford CS231 N uses. It's top down approach. So you come from a lot of things, you have no clue, you don't know how it works. You want to do things like image classification. You have this framework, which is fast AI framework, that's a high level framework, and you just call something and voila, you've trained your data sets. All you need is to have some data somewhere with specific name, and then you put your paths to the data, and you run 3 lines of code, and you've trained everything, and everything works. So for a beginner, it's like, everything works. But eventually we go deep down to understanding the nitty-gritty of how it works, what's a learning rate, why do we need epochs and everything. So we go from the top to bottom to understanding exactly how.
So you have people who are starting off with just brushing up their Python and NumPy and all the way straight into this, because I attended a TensorFlow class and they just gave us a Jupyter notebook, walked us through step by step, and in maybe like an hour, we could actually do some kind of classification of traffic images. You feel like you got something done, but you feel like you don't know anything at all. It's just overwhelming. So so one of the things you also do is you look at research papers, right? You said you pick up another Stanford course archive. So it's all these MOOCs having the free archive is awesome. Yeah.
Okay, so to be completely honest with you about the research part, it's for the Nurture.ai Saturday curriculum, it's 3 parts. The first part should be the fast.ai part, and the second part it should be the convolutional neural network. It's actually, you can pick between NLP or CNN or reinforcement learning. So for our chapter, we picked CNN because we feel like it's cool. It's images, and let's go with this. Let's go with this first. So we go through that, and then the last part is actually the reading of paper, which was the most tedious part for our members. They don't like reading papers. It's so difficult, but we still try. So our strategy for reading the paper is we read the introduction. So we read some parts, and then we read the conclusion. And I'm like, okay, we think this is what this paper is talking about. And then they're like, okay, I think we can move on. So in order for us not to, for them not to feel very, very overwhelmed, because I do a lot of giving them chewing gum, trying to keep them awake. So yeah, but for the paper part, it actually starts 385. It's also a Stanford course. So which but we don't do a lot of paper reading. We kind of like scan. We scan through the papers to get the gist of what's there.
So one of the things I've heard Professor Andrew Naig, who does the machine learning course on Coursera,
Professor Andrew Naig.
His advice is the best way for somebody to get started is to actually go and learn it, right? Go look at the research paper and understand what it is and recreate that model. And in that process, you will get it, and then you'll kind of say, hey, I could do something else better. The more of these you learn, get to a hands-on mode, understanding the research, would get you to become one of them, right?
Better.
Is that the goal of
how do you I didn't get that. Could you come again?
So is that what you're going towards by reading these research papers? Are you trying to get to recreate those models?
So the research paper, the goal of reading this research paper is to actually understand what So for each week, it's everything says something. Like if this week is about training neural networks, so the papers are going to be about training neural networks. Is to get a gist of what the what we've learned in class and see exactly what are the high level things happening in research papers, because that's actually like you said, like one of my mentors, Andrew's everyone's mentor in machine learning. Like he said, like one of the ways to learn is to actually go through the paper. But I also think that for beginners, it can be a bit of a learning curve because it's just so difficult to get your head around it. But there are also videos, like I've seen different videos on YouTube on how to digest a research paper, because the maths might just throw you off. You see a lot of maths, you have no idea what it means. So that's why I said that the strategy we employed is just to read the introduction, try to see, okay, what did the conclusion say? Okay, I think this is a good paper. We could try to go deep down maybe sometimes. And some people are like, okay, I'm not really sure we can do this. Can we move on? So like, yeah, so we're trying to make sure that eventually we'll get to a place where everyone is very comfortable reading papers. Yeah, I think we are getting there.
So where do you want to go with this? I mean, I need to wrap up, and I have Annie, my next guest here, so I want to make sure that two questions. One is, what do you want to do with this? Where are you going towards this? And then I want people to know whether they connect with you or find your work.
Okay, so I studied mechanical engineering in school, and my final year project was on robotics. So I've always been interested. After my project, I realized that, okay, so what do you actually want to do? Do you want to go into the machine part or the mechanical part, or just building machines without the knowledge? And then I found myself very attracted to the artificial intelligence part. So I knew there was no way. I needed to understand how to program. I needed to understand things like machine learning. So after school, I started learning how to code. I joined startup to work with it, because in my opinion, the best way to learn is to join a startup, because you kind of like start. It's not as structured as I'm sure you understand what I mean. So like I joined a startup to try to learn and catch up with my programming knowledge, and I started writing on machine learning concepts, and my first job was on natural language processing. So I was able to do some things on NLP, see, like manipulate bot responses, and it was very cool. And then now we have deep learning. So so where I want to go with this is because I want to go for my master's, and I would like to do it in AI, in artificial intelligence and robotics, perhaps. So so because I studied mechanical engineering, and most schools have AI under computer science, even though I graduated with the first class, it's still difficult to convince them that my first class in mechanical engineering is useful for them in computer science. So I need some extras, and that's why I've been doing a lot of machine learning, AI, having things like AI Saturdays to also brush up my knowledge. And so yeah, that's where I intend to do my master's in artificial intelligence and robotics. But I also work as a front-end developer. So I'm a developer. I also intend to be an AI practitioner or something in the future, or a consultant perhaps. And yeah,
that's fantastic. So. That's fantastic. So before I let you go, I appreciate you joining us from Nigeria. Tell us, do you have a GitHub, or can people, find your models? What is coming out of this AI Saturdays?
So AI Saturdays as a GitHub repository. Because one of the projects we are working on is that we're trying to build something like ImageNet, but for local food. So we call it ChowNet. Chow, according to us, is to eat, like I want to chow, I want to eat. So we want to be able to. Because one of our members did some classification model on Google Vision API, and then it classified rice as something else. So we're like, okay, it seems Google does not understand what rice looks like. We need to do better. Google probably doesn't have a lot of data in that rice. And we're like, okay, what happens when we want to have a local food like amala? Like, Google will be lost. So we were like, okay, we are going to start something where we start gathering data, and we built an 100 app for data collection. We had one of our members wrote some scripts to be able to put it on. Sorry, okay, to be able to.
So we can go to AI Saturdays and look at your models.
So there's a GitHub repository, AI Saturday Lagos. So you can find us there. You can find me on Twitter, Tejumade Afonja. You can find AI Saturday Lagos on Twitter at AI Saturday Lagos.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.